Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How do I even fucking start this video? Whoo! I hope you caught the fights tonight because god damn. The prelims were okay, but that pay-per-view, that was probably maybe not list of names, name-wise wasn't that crazy, but the actual fights themselves on the pay-per-view, mwah, fucking great. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you and your family are doing great, and your friends and loved ones. Let's dive into it, shall we? We have, if you don't know who won the fights, go watch it. I'm about to spoil it. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. We have a new heavyweight champion of the UFC in Francis fucking Ngannou. God damn. Have we seen Francis actually be that composed before? That's all they talked about in the broadcast, of course, like during the fight and after the fight. But I got thinking, was he that composed in his other fights? Because he's had 4 fights since fighting, I believe. Hold on, let me double check before I BS you. I think it's 4 fights since the Stipe fight. What happened here? I can't go to Tapology? What the hell? Tapology down? Weird. Okay, we'll go to a different site. Francis Ngannou. Where's Sherdog? There it is. Okay, Sherdog. Okay. Oh, so I was wrong. Okay. He fought Stipe in January 2018. Here we are, just a little over into 2021, so 3 years later, right? Here is his fight since then. Fought Stipe, lost. Fought Derek Lewis about 6 months later, lost. We all have kind of tried to wipe that away in our memory, right? Then he defeated Curtis Blades, Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, and Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Of all those fights, tell me which one Francis was composed and calm and reserved and methodical. I'll wait. Because even in the Jairzinho Rosenstrike, you saw the replays before the fight, and you saw him flying at Rosenstrike and nailing him with that one clip that hit Rosenstrike and he flew up against the cage. And then JDS, he was all over top of him, kind of how he had Stipe today, all over him. Cain Velasquez had like a leg problem, then he clobbered him. And I forget how the Curtis Blades won, but here's the times for all those fights. Curtis Blades, 45 seconds. Cain Velasquez, 26 seconds. JDS, 1 minute, 11 seconds. Jairzinho, 20 seconds. So one of my co-workers was asking me, he said, hey, what's your thoughts, Stipe and Francis? I was like, dude, Stipe, easily. I always, maybe I shouldn't say always, I typically favor the champion in rematches because typically the champion was the one that won, right? Maybe not always in the case. Maybe there's a different champion. But whoever wins that first fight, I typically weigh in the favor of them. It all depends on how much that challenger has evolved and learned over time. Same thing with the champion. 3 years later, they're not the same fighters. They're not the same people. They've learned things. They've gained more experience. Blah 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 blah. Right? But holy shit, can Francis evolve? Right? Even from the Jairzinho fight, he looked way different. They talked about having Usman in his corner. I was riff-raffing with my buddies, and I was like, I have yet to hear about a wrestling or grappling coach for Ngannou. I honestly thought the same thing was going to happen today that happened in the first Stipe fight. Fuck, was I wrong there, right? Wow. Anyways, what a fight. You could tell right from the get-go, he was just kind of waiting for the right moment, like kind of taking a couple swings here and there. Stipe obviously was trying to, I feel like, do the same thing he did in round one, which just get through round one. As I mentioned, those 4 other fights all with under a minute and 11 seconds. So get past that first 5 minutes, let him tire himself out, and then move on to the second one. Because the thing is, even Stipe's coaching staff and Stipe himself probably didn't, we don't have enough to see on Ngannou to really tell that he's really evolved, right? We never saw him go into the second round since the Derek Lewis fight, and that Derek Lewis fight was terrible. And so we have no evidence to see how Ngannou is going to be, how he was going to be in the rematch, right? I feel like they were completely caught off guard. They went to go for that takedown, just like DC was talking about, and he stuffed the head, and everybody's like, "Whoa, wait a minute here!" The moment that happened, and Stipe couldn't get the takedown, that was alarming, of course, number one. But number two, I thought, okay, he couldn't get him for the first takedown, but maybe, Ngannou gets a little tired, maybe he throws a jab, and then behind the jab goes for a double or a single. And but that did not happen. Ngannou did not let that happen. And yeah, I definitely think Stipe thought he actually clipped. I think he was so dazed when he hit Ngannou. He's like, oh, that was a good hit, just go after him. And then he just got hit with I think it was a left hook. And that was all she wrote. Jesus Christ, what a performance by Ngannou. I feel like he should get a bonus for something like that, to be able to evolve, and not only evolve in that way, but in a championship fight. I always hear fighters say, I wasn't able to show my entire skill set, right? I wasn't able to show my full game. Sometimes that's a benefit. Sometimes you don't want that full game on blast for 15 minutes and then show all your cards, right? You would think. And maybe that's what Ngannou was doing here. He, he did what he did in his other fights, and he still had this up his sleeve for Stipe. But holy fuck, dude, it blows my mind. Joe Rogan talks about how he was on his how he had Ngannou on his podcast, learned about his past. Think about the shit that dude has learned in such a small amount of time, plus learning English and speaking English very well. Like, typically, fighters from Brazil or other countries that learn English as a second language, you can hear the very thick accents, right? Ngannou, of course, has an accent, but he pronounces a lot of words really well. The only one I could tell, again, this was after a fist fight, but in his post-fight interview there, he was a mixed martial art. Other than that, everything else sounded very, very clear. Of course, if we had Stipe there, we'd have to have a goddamn interpreter for English, Stipe English to normal English. But either way, goddamn, what a fight. Kind of the broadcaster was talking about, what's next for Stipe. I thought about that before the fight. I was like, listen, if Stipe wins, that's 2-0 for Stipe. Obviously, next would be whoever's in line, or I guess John Jones for Stipe. Fuck, it's late. But if Ngannou wins, I was like, I feel like they'd have to make a rubber match. Poor Stipe. I was like, how many rematches is Stipe going to be in? I feel like it's so top heavy on heavyweight, right? There's a little bit of drop off down the rankings. But it's heavyweight, anything can happen. But with Ngannou winning, the broadcast team talked a little bit about a rematch, but does Stipe want to go through all that again? Does he want to call it a career? I don't know. I don't think I actually seen anything. Obviously, he's going to go back to his family, talk to his family, figure it all out. But is he really going to retire? I don't know. Is he going to have to work up? Will he want to work up the ladder again? Ugh. And maybe if they offer him a rematch, he might take that. But it's crazy to think we're all talking about how he's the greatest of all time, heavyweight champion, blah, blah. He loses his fight, and we're like, well, he's probably going to retire. It's like, I wouldn't say that yet, but I guess I don't want to rule it out. And then there's the whole other case of anybody that retires typically comes back anyway, a la Miesha Tate. Anyways, Yeah, great main event. And then for, of course, Ngannou, all they talked about was John Jones. Fucking Johnny. Did you guys see his tweet? He says, let's play, baby. And then right after that, show me the money. That motherfucker. UFC's going to be squeezed like a motherfucker to make that fight now. But, hey, yeah, I guess you got to pay the man, right? That'll be a crazy fight. Will Ngannou pull it off and knock out John Jones? Or will John Jones implement the fucking, the New Mexico Jackson Wink game plan, pull that shit out, blow the dust off it, and get a John Jones type of win against Ngannou? What's John Jones gonna do if he beats Ngannou? Just retire? You're telling me he's gonna stay up there and keep defending the? I mean, he could prove me wrong, but is he gonna go up there and keep defending the heavyweight belt? I don't know about that. So is it worth? I mean, it's worth it just to see it, of course. But yeah, fucking crazy main event. It was awesome. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about because of course there's a ton more fights to talk about here. Let's talk about. Damn, maybe Tapology went down? Maybe it got too much traffic. I still can't hit Tapology. God damn, that's crazy. I can still hit Sure Dog. All right, let's talk about the co-main. Vicente Luque defeats Tyron Woodley via submission. They called it a Bravo choke. I thought that was a Darce. Was it the Darce or Darce? Yeah, I thought it was a Darce, but they're calling it a Bravo choke. That's news to me. Round 1, 3 minutes 56 seconds in. I'll start with Vicente Luque. I've been talking about this dude for a long. I've been high on this guy for a long time. I was telling my buddies, I was like, you guys remember? We were at the UFC, the very first New York, in this case New York City, event. Actually, you can kind of see it. The one at the back there with that right there. That's my little plaque my wife bought me, girlfriend at the time, that has my ticket to the very first UFC event in New York City after they were unbanned. And it was the Conor and Eddie pay-per-view. You want to talk about fucking insane. So that was awesome. But Luque was there. And my dumbass, our dumbasses, we went out in between fights to go get hot dogs or whatever the hell we were eating at Madison Square Garden. It took so long to get our food. Luque came out, was fighting Bilal Muhammad, of all people. What happens? Luque knocks him out, and I'm still trying to get a fucking hot dog. I'm like, fuck. I wanted to watch that fight. And I've been talking about Vicente Luque ever since. Even before that, I was like, dude, Luque's like the dark horse of the division. I think other people has possibly said that, but I believe that too. Motherfucker's getting better. Now, he had a really rough fight with, was it Wonder Boy? Let me look. Yeah, Stephen Thompson. So that was late 2019. And that was I don't want to say a beatdown, but it was pretty bad. And then he came back, beat Nico Price, Randy Brown, and now Tyron Woodley. Motherfucker's probably in the top 5 now. It's crazy. Great win by Vicente Luque. Tyron Woodley. What do we do with Tyron Woodley? Do we cut him? I mean, literally, the UFC is throwing everything in the fucking kitchen sink to Woodley after he lost his belt. Okay, you lose to Kamaru Usman. Who do they give you? Gilbert Burns. Who do they give you after that? Colby Covington. What about after that? Vicente Luque. Like, God, you fucking hate the guy? But the problem is there's so many. Welterweight is so stacked with some of these fucking beasts that are so pressure heavy that, it's rough. It's rough out here, and I'll give it to Tyron Woodley. He came out and actually fucking tried. I don't want to say I want fighters to go out on their shield, because that means they're just taking, damage they shouldn't be taking, right? But I feel like he almost had to prove to himself that he could possibly get a win. Come out and actually fucking swing like, fuck it. If I get knocked out, I get knocked out. I think was kind of his attitude. And he got basically knocked out and then submitted. He clipped Luque to his effort. He clipped Luque a couple times. So does he get cut? Because that's 4 losses in a row. Did they really give him a fifth shot for to get another 5th loss? Does Tyron Woodley retire at this point? Oh, man. It's rough. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's in store for Mr. Woodley. All right, fight before that. Sugar Sean O'Malley defeats Thomas Almeida. 3rd round, 3 minutes 52 seconds, so about a minute left. Via KO, via a punch. I kind of expected O'Malley to win this, even though everybody was all over O'Malley's nuts about the way he lost his last fight. An interesting thing John Anik talked about with Sean O'Malley, how when he loses a fight, he almost is like injured each time. But if I recall correctly, when he lost that fight against Chito Vera via the leg kicks there, I don't think he was actually injured. I think he was just debilitated temporarily. I could be wrong, but I want to say I recall that it wasn't an actual injury. He didn't have to have surgery or anything like that. I could be wrong. Maybe I should go look that up. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But I wondered. I was like, dude, Thomas Almeida? And when they got in there, dude, Sean O'Malley, his frame for that division, Jesus Christ, dude. I don't know how you deal with Sean O'Malley's style. You have to be so willing to get in the fire, get inside, make it dirty, do a lot of clinch work, grappling, make him tired, and put him to the ground, because trying to stand up with Sean O'Malley is a losing battle, unless you get a Chito Vera kind of win, right? They were dogging him a lot on the broadcast about the whole, trying to get that crazy knockout win and walk away KO. The dude's obviously he didn't learn from it. He did it again in round 3, clipped him, started walking away, turned around, was like, all right, and then fucking hammer fist to hell. Jesus. Thomas Almeida, I think he's on a bad losing streak as well. Let me look. Yeah. So he lost to Jimmy Rivera, Rob Font, Jonathan Martinez, and now Sean O'Malley. That's 4 losses in a row. Dude, the win streak he was on, he was... Oh, boy. That would have been 20... or 1... 2, he would have been 21-0. And then he lost to Cody Garbrandt. God damn. Then he beat Albert Morales. And then he lost to Jimmy Rivera, Rob Font, Jonathan Martinez, Sean O'Malley. So, not looking good for Mr. Almeida either. Because he's so fun to watch if he can get things going. I feel like he was just so stifled with Sean O'Malley's game and with his style. He wasn't gun shy. He just couldn't figure him out, right? He couldn't get the timing. He couldn't find his openings, all that jazz. So, unfortunately for Thomas Almeida, not the greatest showing for him. So, even he might get cut. I don't know. That's a rough one. But great win for Sean O'Malley. What's next for O'Malley? Maybe get a ranked opponent. I don't know. We'll see. Fight before that, Miranda Maverick defeats Gillian Robertson via unanimous decision. Another fighter that I've been very high on is Miranda Maverick. Pre-COVID, of course, I was going to the Invicta events here. If you're not familiar with Invicta, it's that women's MMA promotion that's home-based in Kansas City. And me living here in Kansas City, I also like to go to amateur and professional MMA events. And so I went to quite a few of the Invicta events. And, of course, Miranda Maverick coming through Invicta. Dude, she's legit. Now, is she going to beat Shevchenko tomorrow? No. Could she maybe work her way up the ladder, get a ton of experience, and then give Shevchenko a run for her money? I wouldn't bet my life on it. But of all the contenders I see on the table, she might have the best chance, but it's going to take her a while. Shevchenko might retire by the time she's ready for that, So, great prospect. I was pumped when she got signed for the UFC. I told my buddies, was like, this is a chick to watch, dude. She doesn't look super. She didn't look super dominant in this fight, but the way, how do I word this? Just I feel like her presence against some of the other women. Gillian Robertson looked like she didn't take that into fact too much, but damn, Miranda Maverick's a fucking great prospect. Great. That second round by Gillian Robertson was great. Being able to grapple her basically the whole round. I was like, oh boy. It's reminiscent of last weekend, the women's fight last week. I forget who it was, Cheyenne Bays and the Mexican girl there. Mexican girl put her in a headlock and threw her down every single round. I was like, oh boy. So I'm thinking Jillian Robertson's going to do the same thing to Miranda that third round, but kudos to Miranda Maverick. She didn't accept the position. She didn't try to go for a headlock and hold the position and burn her arms out. She was actually being defensive, being smart, taking her time, getting out of the positions, but she wasn't letting Jillian really lock anything in, not getting her hooks in, not giving her many opportunities, right? So fucking smart win by Maverick. I gave it a score of 29-28. Interestingly enough, the judges gave Maverick, two judges gave her 30-27s. Now, we're going back to talking about the rules in Vegas. Sounds like they implemented the new rules with changes, and the new rules is all about damage. Were they looking at that second round, and even though Jillian Robertson was winning the grappling exchange, maybe there wasn't any actual damage during those grappling exchanges, so that's why they gave it to Miranda maybe before. And I can't remember if the second round ended with them on the mat or if Maverick was able to get up and land. I think she did actually land a little bit. I'd have to go rewatch it. But maybe Miranda was the only one that really landed any damage in that second round. And that's how they gave her that round. Fuck, it's late. So yeah, great win there. Let's keep moving on. I'm already 22 minutes in. Jamie Mullarkey. Dude, I love that last name, by the way. Holy shit. Let's see. This was the first fight on the main card. What a way to open the card. Defeats Khama worthy. KO punches round 1, 4 minutes or 46 seconds. Damn. I was like, whoa! The way he fucking clipped him, it was a left hook. And Khama worthy, he had his stance, but at one point when Jamie Mullarkey he went to kind of, I think Joe Rogan talked about it. He almost because I don't know if it's exactly a feint. It kind of is a feint. Because I feel like feints are really short. Obviously I'm not a fighter or a coach, so I don't know the technical steps of a feint. But obviously it's to try to get a reaction. Like, you're going to throw something, right? But I feel like it was an extended feint. Like, he was actually going to go for it, and then the left hook came after. And Khama worthy, if you saw, he had his arms here, and then he put his arm up, and then it came over and hit him, and I was like, why was his arms that high up, But dude, clipped him right in the chin, and that was it. Great win by Mr. Mullarkey there. Moving down the list, I was actually on the toilet for this one, maybe TMI, but Alonzo Menifield defeats Fabio Charint via submission. They called it a shoulder choke on Sherdog. Jesus. This was the Von Preux choke, right? Where they put one of their shoulders into the side of your neck, and they squeeze behind your neck, and they just kind of squeeze in, and they lean all their weight into that shoulder, and they have your arm blocked under too. And looked good, dude. Had him up against the cage. Dude couldn't do anything. I saw the replay after I got off the toilet, but great win by Alonzo. And damn, his post-fight interview, dude, completely. Some fighters be ecstatic and or weird or emotional, things like that, which is understandable. He was just to the point, articulate, great interview. Oh, and then that takedown against the cage, woo! Where he lifted him up and dunked him to the side and slammed him. God damn, what a takedown there. All right, fight before that, Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov defeats Jared Gooden via unanimous decision. So that's why I said the pay-per-view was kind of like way better. If you look at the list here, well, the prelims, submission, TKO. So out of the 5 fights in the prelims altogether, there was 2 finishes, 3 decisions. But then the main card, it was decision or finish, 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 and then a decision. It's only 3-1 there. Okay, so Abubakar Nurmagomedov defeats Jared Gooden by unanimous decision. So it goes all 3 rounds. What I had noted here was I tried to take notes so I could remember everything. The first fucking note I made about this fight was I couldn't remember seeing Jared Gooden fight, but when they talked about him having a late notice fight against who was that? God, I forget who it was. Oh, it was Brahma. I can see his face. You're probably screaming at me right now. I know his name. Hold up. It's you're gonna make me look it up, aren't you? Fuck, I'm gonna look it up. Slap myself. Alan Jouban. Fuck. When he fought Al Jouban, when they said that, I was like, oh yeah, you know, it kind of ticked. But with the first note I made was I looked at Jared Gooden and he turned to the side. I was like, damn, that dude's got a long ass neck. Like, I feel like that's a disadvantage. If your neck's really long, I feel like that's a bad disadvantage because think about, you know, rear naked chokes. Think about headlocks. You know, neck chokes, right? Having a really long ass neck is probably not good. Harder to defend, I bet. I don't know. Has anybody ever talked about that? But so that was my first random comment I made down. And then again, this is me being retarded. Between round 1 and round 2, did you guys, if you had if you were watching it on TV, you probably didn't hear it. But if you were watching it on ESPN Plus, I think on the app you could hear, you wouldn't see the commercials. I forget, but I didn't see commercials, and I heard between the rounds, and I don't know what the fuck was going on between round 1 and round 2, but we were in the corner of, I think it was Gooden, and somebody was like vacuuming or cleaning something. All I heard was like somebody was vacuuming. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So I randomly commented that. But round 1 was awesome. I liked how Gooden kind of approached his fight. It's the approach you got to take against a Nurmagomedov, right? You gotta be on top of your game and be ready for the fucking takedowns, because anything with a Nurmagomedov or Makhachev, you know what's coming, right? And I feel like he was prepared correctly, but then got thrown a fucking boomerang, like a complete audible, where Nurmagomedov was standing with him the whole time. I think he tried one takedown, if I recall correctly, but it was basically all stand-up. And it got to the point where Gooden was getting actually clipped by Nurmagomedov, and you could see it, like, stiffened him just a little bit. Like, it didn't knock him down entirely, but he got stiffed up and clipped a couple times, where he was now he was worried not only, of course, of the takedowns and the grappling, I'm sure the sambo, but then he had to watch out for the goddamn striking. And so I think the 3rd round they told him, you need to fucking go out there and do something. And he tried, but Nurmagomedov was just too good at implementing his game plan with, of course, his cousin, obviously Khabib in the corner, and with Javier in the corner as well. What a great team there, and I'm excited to see more Russians come through that gym. So great fight there for Nurmagomedov. One thing I did note was, obviously everybody's at different levels, but Makhachev looked way more dominant in his fight compared to Nurmagomedov's fight today. All right, 3 fights left. Michael Ojenchuk. God, those Polish names are rough, dude. Defeats Modestas Bukauskas. Unanimous or a split decision, excuse me. That fight, I actually said Bukauskas. I thought he was going to get the fight. I guess you could go either way. I know they talked about how it wasn't a good look for Bukauskas to keep backing up like that. But I feel like some of these fighters that have these styles where you're more of a... because, of course, there's 3 different ones that I know when it comes to offense, right? There's being first. There's being the... God, I can't even think of the term. Basically, you allow your opponent to swing, and then you basically dodge or do something, roll with it, and then swing back, right? But then there's the other one where I think Connor tries to do the mix of the two, where when your opponent throws, you throw at the same time. Those are the three types of offenses. And I think that Bukauskas was trying to do the second version of let Michel do what he was going to do and try to work his offense off of that. And just sometimes it makes you look like you're on your back step, so it looks like you're always the one backing up. But dude, the moment he started pushing forward, he started winning those exchanges. So too bad they didn't make too much of an audible and switch to the game plan. They needed a game plan, plan A, plan B, plan C to help win that fight, and they weren't able to kind of follow through with that. So I wrote it down in my notes. I gave Bukauskas round 2. Then even round 3, so I was like 29-28 for him, but they gave it 29-28. 2 judges for Oliszczyk, and so he got that win. So good win there. And then let's see what else we got. 30 minutes in, Jesus. Omar Morales defeats Shane Young, unanimous decision. This fight, the first round. Oh yeah, this fight was kind of slow. Morales looked fucking massive. If I remember correctly, we were talking about how big he looked. I guess he moved down from lightweight. His frame was huge, and it wasn't a frame like Sean O'Malley where it's the frame where you're long and lanky and tall. It was like, dude was stacked, right? And he talked about the weight cut was difficult. I could fucking see why, dude. It's you look massive against Young, and Young, I feel like Young just couldn't get going, honestly. I feel like he couldn't get on his bike. But the first round was slow. They kind of, felt each other out kind of thing. Second round came around, and Morales almost was like didn't give a fuck. Second round, about halfway, he just flicked the switch. Was like, fuck it, this guy's got nothing for me. I'm going after him. And he went after him. And that's basically how he won that fight. But yeah, and then the third round, Young he didn't have the same speed that Morales had in that third round, so Morales was just piecing him up here and there. And then there was a part where I wrote an exchange down that really caught my eye, where, you'll see times where, think about the example of Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold, right? Fucking everybody knows it. Chris Weidman throws that spinning back heel kick or whatever it was, and the Rockhold takes it as an opportunity to grab a hold of him and take him down. Same thing kind of happened here. Morales went to throw that spinning back kick, and Shane Young went to go for the takedown, but Morales came around, stood there, and then Young was still trying to go in for the double, and Morales was able to react quickly enough to stuff that double, put his hips to the floor, and I was like, dude, Young is not that fast. He needs to work on his speed, or if you can do that. But he couldn't take him down. I was like, damn, that's not good. Because you could see quite a few times Young was trying to take him down, but it was not working out. All right, very first fight in the card was Marc-Andre Barriault defeats Abu Aziatar. TKO punches. Third round, 4 minutes, 50 seconds. There's literally 4 seconds left in the fight. I was like, just let the dude get his face punched in. If he's telling the ref, hey, I'm good, just let it keep going. Typically I'm like, dude, end the fight. He definitely could have. But, dude, you're at the point, 4 seconds left. Fuck, man. I think he was still rolling right when the ref, Jaron Villal, actually stopped it. It was like he was just still turning to kind of get out of it a little bit, and the ref called it. It was like, dude, there's 4 seconds left. You've already told him how many times, make progress, and you did nothing. So I also thought it was odd that I'm forgetting his full name. His cornerman was that one manager. I was like, how the fuck? Why is he your manager? Where's your coaches, right? Do you not have 3 coaches or other fighters that have more experience that can be in your corner? Why is your manager, I'm assuming his manager, Alez Abdulidez, what the hell his name is? I cannot remember. I know he's a manager. Why is he in your corner? I thought that was odd. But obviously it was a fucking banger going back and forth. Luckily, Barriault is able to depend on his, and that's the thing I tell a lot of people, that maybe aren't super in MMA like I am, but if you have cardio on your side, you already have a one-up above a lot of people, right? that cardio will save you a lot at the end of the day. If you find people that you know can have that little bit of drop off, you already have a easy advantage on these people. And same thing with Barrios, with him having that cardio, that definitely helped him win that fight. Abu came swinging though. It was back and forth in the first round. What else I noted? But yeah, Abu, I said, was kind of blowing his load way too quickly. Pulling and Ngannou, and Ngannou versus Stipe won, right? Should have paced himself better, but they were talking about it on the broadcast with Barrios being a cardio machine. Yeah, that's what's going to win you these fights. So, anyways, that's the whole fight card. I don't know. It was a great night of fights. What do you guys think? Best fight-wise, I would say... I mean, how do you not give it to the main event? Jesus Christ. I mean, that first fight was really fun to watch. They were just fucking slugging it out. So that was fun. O'Malley's fight was fun. I felt kind of bad for Thomas Almeida. It's just like he couldn't really get going, and he just looked too small to fight O'Malley. It's like he couldn't get in a range. He didn't know what to do or how to wade through things like Stipe did versus the first Ngannou, right? But anywho, hope you guys are doing well. Looks like the next event we have is, I think, 2 weeks from now. Yes. Main event is Darren Till versus Marvin Vettori. That should be fun at middleweight. So looking forward to that. That's in 2 weeks. So if anything, I'll talk to you guys 2 weeks. I hope you and your family and loved ones are well and safe. And everything's going great here. I hope you guys are doing well. Be nice to everybody. Be safe. And talk to you guys in 2 weeks. Peace out.